Okay, so looking at the first one here. 4 3/4 plus 7 5/6. What do you get?
12 and 7/12.
12 and 7/12. Anybody get anything different?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah. 6/4. But it's only because I looked and saw 16.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you end up with, what is this, 9/12? Oops, that should be a 4. And 10/12. So you got 19/12. So that's 7/12. Carry the 1. 1 and 4 is 5 plus 7 is 12. 12 and 7/12. 8 5/8 minus 5 4/5. 2 and 33 40ths. So again, 8 5/8 minus 5 4/5. This will be 8 and 25 40ths. And 5 32 40ths. You're going to borrow. This will become 7. You have to add 40 here, so you get 65 40ths. Minus 32 is 33 40ths. 7 minus 5 is 2. Any questions so far? Now here, 3 3/4 times 5 1/2, what do you get? Or 5 1/4, sorry. What do you get?
15 and 3/20.
Okay, that's a common mistake. You did 3 times 5 and 3/4 times 1/5, right?
Yeah.
You have to make them into an improper fraction.
Oh, yeah.
So 3 times 4 is 12 plus 3 is 15/4. 5 times 5 is 25 plus 1 is 26/5. You can reduce 15 and 5, give me 1 and 3. 4 and 26, give me 13 and 2. 3 times 13 is 39. 2 times 1 is 2. So that is 19 and 1/2. Remember, if you're going to leave it as mixed numbers, you not only have to multiply the 3/4 times the 1/5, but the 3/4 also has to multiply the 5. And the 1/5 also has to multiply the 3. So the easiest way to go about that is to turn them into improper fractions. You could do the addition as improper fractions, but you're going to get really big numbers to work with. It's easier to leave addition and subtraction as mixed numbers. Multiplication and division, it's easiest to make them improper. As I showed you the other day, I can do these as mixed numbers. It's just a really long process. 7 and 1/3 divided by 2 and 1/6. Anybody get an answer there? 3 and 5/13. Okay, let's see what we come up with. So again, we're going to make them improper fractions. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 1 is 22/3. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13/6. Now it's still division. We have to flip the second one over. The first one never changes. We flip the second one over and make it multiplication. Now we can cross cancel the 3 and the 6 to give us 1 and 2. 2 times 22 is 44. 1 times 13 is 13, and that is 3 and 5/13. Good job. Any questions? Now, there are a couple of problems in your homework. This homework book doesn't follow the chapters quite as tightly as I would like. There's a couple problems in your homework that do lead us into our new stuff for today. So let's just take a look at that. If I have a problem like this, now you might look at that and think that looks pretty ugly, but it's really not. It's no different than having something like this. if I'm looking at this here, what would I do first? Yeah, the multiplication in the middle. 2 times 3. Same here. I have to do the multiplication in the middle. 2/3 times 1/4. I can cross cancel the 2 and 4 to give me 2 and 1. So 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 2 is 6. So this is now 3/4 minus 1/6 plus 3/8. Now all I have left is addition and subtraction. Order of operations says those happen at the same time, so I'm just going to go left to right. 3/4 minus 1/6. Now the difference here is because you got fractions, sometimes you have to write it off to the side. So I'll do my calculation over here off to the side. 3/4 plus 1/6. Common denominator is going to be 12. This will be 9/12. This will be 2/12. 9 plus 2, or 9 minus 2, I should say. It's minus, not plus. Is 7/12. So 3/4 minus 1/6 is 7/12. And then I still have the plus 3/8. Make sense so far? So now 7/12 plus 3/8. I got 9/12 and 2/12, right? My common denominator is 12. So 3/4 minus 1/6. So 9 minus 2 is 7, and I keep the same name. Keep the 12s. So now I have 7/12 plus 3/8. Common denominator is going to be 24 for 12 and 8. 12 times 2, so 7 times 2 is 14. 8 times 3, so 3 times 3 is 9. Now we are adding 14 plus 9 is 23 24ths. So this comes up 23 24ths. Any questions? Not so bad. We might have something like that. I'm going to have you try that in your notes quick. See what you come up with. Where would we start here? I know some of you aren't quite done yet. In the parentheses and the multiplication. 4/5 times 5/6. What does that multiply out to be? The 5's cancel out, give me 1 and 1. 4 and 6 divide by 2 to give me 2 and 3. 2 times 1 is 2, 1 times 3 is 3. What would be my next step? Addition. What's 1/3 plus 2/3? 2. Now everything in the parentheses is down to a single number, so I don't need it anymore. So the parentheses are gone. I have to put in my multiplication there. What's my next step? 3/4 times 2, right? I make this a fraction by putting it 2 over 1. And then 4 and 2 cross cancel to give me 1 and 2. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. So that's 3 over 2, or 1 and 1/2. So 2 1/2 plus 1 1/2 gives me 4. Anybody get 4? Any questions? I see some confused looks out there.
I took the parentheses off, but you have to multiply that 2 by a 3/4.
Okay. Comes to be 4 and 0/2 or just 4. Now, how many of you have your fraction calculators with? Have you guys all figured out how to use them? Use the ABC key? Any questions on it? On yours? Here, let me take a peek at yours quick. You've got this one right here. So if you're just entering a fraction, you just press that key. Oops. And then standard there. It's like 3/4. 3, press that key 4. That's 3/4. And split it like that. if you want to enter like 2.5 or let's say 2 1/4. 2 at that 1 at 4. We'll display it as 9/4. So you've got to do shift and then this key to turn it into a mixed number. So shift and the SE key. That'll take a while to remember it. That's the one weakness of the Casios and the Sharps, is they tend to display them as improper fractions instead of mixed numbers unless you tell it to do it. Well, let's see what happens when we run into something like this. Try that one in your notes, see what you come up with. Okay, so let's take a peek. On top here, we have 5 6 times 3/4. The 6 and the 3 will cross cancel, giving me 1 and 2. 5 times 1 is 5. 2 times 4 is 8. On bottom, 1/2 plus 3/8. Common denominator is going to be 8. So this is going to stay 3/8. This is going to become 4/8, which gives us 7/8. So we have 5/8 divided by 7/8. Now, a lot of people, when they see it like this, it confuses them. It helps to just rewrite it. 5/8 divided by 7/8 is 5/8 divided by 7/8. With it like that, now most people can see what to do with it. 5/8 times 8/7. The 8's cross cancel to give me 1s. We've got 5/7. Anybody get 5/7? Good deal. Okay, I've got something. How do I get the 7/8? Because my common denominator for 2 and 8 is going to be 8. So that stays 3/8. This becomes 8, so it's 2 times 4, so it has to be 1 times 4 to get 4/8. So then 4 plus 3 makes 7, and then when we add, we keep the same name. What it's dealing with is tool sizes. And we're looking at finding tool sizes that are between two sizes, or maybe we've got a certain size, maybe the next size smaller or bigger. We are assuming that we have tool sizes down to the 64th of an inch here, just for this worksheet. So like the first problem there, let's say that you have a 7/32 tool and a 1/4 inch tool. And you want to find the tool size that's in between there. Well, if I have, let's say I'm dealing with, let's go to metric because that's a little simpler. Let's say I have an 8mm and a 10mm. What tool size is right in between there? 9 is obviously right in between there. We can just see that. But if we didn't see that, how would we calculate to find out what was right in between there? You do 8 plus 10 and divide by 2. You just average them together, right? Well, you do the same thing here. It's a little uglier because these are fractions, but it works exactly the same. 7/32 plus 1/4, and then you're going to divide by 2. So 7/32 plus 1/4, first thing we have to do is find common denominator, which is going to be 32. So the 7/32 stays the same. Change a 4th into 32. It's 4 times 8, right? So 1 times 8 is 8. 7 plus 8 makes 15/32. And we still have to divide by 2. Well, 15/32 divided by 2, we make the 2 a fraction by making it 2/1. So that becomes 15/32 times 1/2. So that is 15/64. I'm going to pause there. There's a lot that just went on there, and I did it kind of quickly. Any questions on what I did? Okay, let's do one more together. Number 2, 9/32 and 5/16. So average them together. 9 30-seconds plus 5/16 divided by 2. My common denominator will be 32. So the 9 30-seconds doesn't change. To turn 16ths into 30 seconds, I had to multiply by 2. So 5 times 2 is 10. 9 plus 10 is 19 30-seconds. Divided by 2. Now I'm going to show you a trick. We know that dividing by 2 is just going to be times 1/2, right? So that's just 19/64. What do you think? I'm going to have you guys do 3 through 10. Stop at number 10. So for number 3, 5/8 and 3/4 is going to become 11/16. You guys get 11/16 for number 3? What'd you get for number 4? 7/16. Good. Number 5. 5/8 works for me. Number 6. 3 seconds is perfect. 7. 23 30-seconds. Good. 8. 5/64. Yep. 9. 51/64. And 10. 31/64. Perfect. Any questions on those? A little slow. If you just as long as you got a few of them done, that's fine. As long as you know how to do it. Now the next thing is, what if we're working with a tool and we see that we need the next size larger or next size smaller? The tool we have is just a little too big. So to get the next size smaller, we would subtract 1/64, right? Or if the tool we had was just a little too small, we needed the next size larger, we're just going to add 1/64. So like number 11, the tool we have is 5 30-seconds. To get the next size larger, actually is what they're asking for first, we would add 1/64. So 5 30-seconds is 10/64 plus 1/64. Next size larger is 11/64. Now the next size smaller, once we found the one larger, it's easy to find the one smaller, because we're just going to go back here, and instead of adding, we're going to subtract 1/64. 10 minus 1 would be 9/64 for the next size smaller. So really, the only trick here is converting the tool size that we have into 64ths. Like for number 12, we're given 3/16. I'm going to convert that times 4, makes it 12/64. So the next size larger would be 1 more. 12 plus 1 is 13/64. Next size smaller, you'd subtract 1. 12 minus 1 is 11/64. So I'll have you do 13 through 20 quick. Okay, so looking at it here, number 13, we have 31 30-seconds. What's the next size larger? 63/64 and smaller? Perfect, 61/64. 14, 9 30-seconds. What's the next size larger? 19 and smaller? 17/64. 15, 5/8. What's the next size larger? 41 and smaller. 39 64ths. 16 1/8. Next size larger and smaller. 7 64ths. Perfect. 17 3/4. Larger. 49. Yeah. Smaller. 47 64ths. And then 1/16. Next size larger. 5 64ths and smaller. 3 64ths. 19 3/8. Larger. 25, yep. And smaller. 23. And number 20 is the same as number 14, so I'm not going to do it again. Any questions? Okay, so today your homework's going to come out of the big book. It is on pages 74 through 75. It's exercise 2-17. 1 through 25, the odds. Then also on pages 76 through 77. Exercise 2-18. 1 through 7, the odds.
7.
Yep, 1 through 7.
Exercise what?
2-18. So let you guys have the last 11 minutes here to get started. Levi and Carter. No Carter yet, good. He's on 2-day-a-week plan. It looks okay. What's that?
He's got no
Yep.
He works from like 10 at night. Well, he starts when I get off.
Oh, he does the overnight
get out.
stocking, or?
He has like security.
Ah.
So, because I get off at 10 o'clock and that's when he starts.
He's just starting.
We're doing exercise 2-17 on